Hello, 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 and welcome to the Paris Set Me Free show with me, Sab in Paris. Hello, hello. I'm looking like this today. How are you? I don't have a fancy mug today, unfortunately. I'm drinking some crap before giving it up on Monday. Again, I generally give things up on Monday, so this Monday I will be giving up sugar. That's the theory. Practice, I'll let you know. This is a show where I talk about anything and everything Paris. I talk about my Paris week. In fact, my Paris 2 weeks, because it's been 2 weeks since I last saw you. I do the show every 2 weeks. And I don't only talk about the last 2 weeks, I talk about the last 30 years, because I've been in Paris for 30 years. And I always say that I don't know if I adopted Paris or if Paris adopted me, but one way or the other, we make a strange and curious team. And if your congregation be risen, I will. If you would like to open your prayer books to the page of my reality, and we can say the daily Paris prayer together. A poem I wrote in 1997, and I might just start every show with this to tell you what Paris means to me. My reality. This is my Paris, my reality. No one sees what I see. It belongs to me. This is my sky. These are my clouds, my reality. I belong to no one. Paris set me free. By me. 25 years ago, 25. And I had already been in Paris for a few years. So the funny thing is, this is one of my smallest poems, shortest poems, simplest poems, and yet it's actually still one of my truest. So there it is. I'm going to tell you about Paris, and I'll tell you about Paris through my photographs, through my Paris quizzes, occasionally through articles from Paris newspapers, anything interesting that comes up, and we'll see where we go from here. So hello, you can say hello if you like in the chat. That would be nice. If it's working today, say hello and I will say hello back. If you have a Paris question, let me know what it is. If you have a Paris comment on anything I say, let me know what it is, and I will drink Crazy Tiger until 2 weeks time, when I will be a very subdued tiger indeed, because I'm giving up sugar. Yeah, that's the theory. Let me share my screen. Here's my screen. And this is the page that you should belong to if you don't already. Paris Set Me Free. Or it's a group, Facebook group. Come along. I present quizzes and photographs and stuff on a regular basis. I'm going to go to my latest photographs. And anything that comes up for me about Paris, I will talk about it. If you have any questions, let me know. So this is the latest chapter in my Paris photo chronicles. As you probably know, I publish a photograph of Paris every day, and I accompany it by a text, which is often about Paris too, but not always. So as you can see, I still have a kind of number theme going on. I've got a number 11 in the top left, can you see the number in the bottom right? And number 82, in fact, 2 82s in the bottom right. In the bottom left, it's let me show you the photograph. It's a kind of strange 20, kind of a poor man's 20. It looks like this thing's been hacked together in someone's garage, or a sort of a metalwork assignment at school or something, with holes drilled in this rather dodgy looking iron plaque or whatever it is. And it's pretty cool. And it makes a wonderful addition to my series, my mini series on Paris street numbers, which don't look like Paris street numbers. This is one of them. This is another. And I'm just trying to remember if these were all together or not, because there are a few little corners in Paris, if you know about them, which are really not like Paris. And one of them, I think the 20, possibly the 11, but I'm not sure. And I'm not at all sure about the 82, were taken in a place which I will show you. So this is what I do throughout the show. I pop over. Let me get rid of the bookmarks. Whatever I tried to do there didn't work. Okay. Oh, I know why. I know why. All right, I'm going to go to Google. Yeah, I have got rid of the map of the. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to go to Paris, surprise, surprise, and show you where at least one of those numbers was. This is a little secret area of Paris you might not know about. And it's near a lovely park, which if you don't know Paris very well, you might not know this park. It's an amazing park with hills. There's even a kind of a mountain in it. There's kind of caves and stuff, waterfalls on a modest scale, but it's still pretty impressive for a park in Paris, don't you think? And this area is particularly interesting because it's got these things called buttes. You wouldn't say that. You say butte, which means a hill. And I'm going to show you 4 of them today. I've got someone saying hello. Hi, Bea. Beatrice is watching. My biggest fan. My only fan? My fan? I don't know. Great to have you here, Bea. And I'm going to show you on this map, you can actually see 4 of these hills. And in French, hill, one of the words for hill is butte. So this is the most famous one. It's Parc des Ďebuchements. And indeed, it has, you can see this is an island in the middle of a lake. And it's actually a kind of mountainous island. I don't know if I could actually go down and look at it. Let's see if I'd have to go. I might not be able to go in there. Let's have a look. Where am I? I'm in the middle of a rose bush by the looks of things. Let's see where I am. Okay, there's people walking. They look like they're walking in the park. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you the mountain. No, I mean, I certainly could. In this lake, there is a mountain. And you can kind of see it in that map there. In fact, you can see it in one of my old photographs. I wonder if I can find it somewhere here. Okay, not that one. If I go back, I took a picture of this mountain in the middle of a Paris park, which is pretty amazing. Is it there? No, it's not there. Let's go to the next one. And in this map, I will show you 4 of these kind of hill things. And it's not there. Let's go to the next one. Now, it used to be one big hill, I think. But what happened was they did excavation. They dug up stones and things to make some of the apartments you can see around the park, in fact. That lovely white, I'm not sure if it's limestone probably. And this left the whole thing a bit of a mess, you know, like quarries, like bits going down and bits going up. I think I still have to go back. This is quite incredible. I didn't realize it was so far back, or I have missed it. So I'll go back one more. There it is. So up in the top right-hand corner there, this is Le Parc des Ďebuchements. So this is looking across a bridge, which is over a chasm, over the lake. You've got this huge thing up here on the left, and then you've got an even bigger thing, although it seems smaller because it's further away, with this belvedere on the end. So this is Le Parc des Ďebuchements, which is pretty impressive. That's there in the middle of this thing. If you go over here, down here, there's a very strange and rather secret place called La Butte Bergère. And not many people know about this. And if you ever have a quiz which says how many vineyards are there in Paris, you might be clever, because I think there is one snuck on this kind of strange little hillside here. Then if you go over to the other side, you've got a thing called Le Parc de la Butte du Chapeau Rouge, which Chapeau Rouge means red hat. So it's the Hill of the Red Hat Park. And in that, you also have a kind of a hilly type thing. And imagine the quarries which dug out bits and there were high bits left. There's another bit like that. It's not shown as such, but it's around here. Is it around here? I will find it. So it's around this area here. And this is known as the 𝗏𝙗𝙚 𝗏𝙗𝙚, what is it? Bull something, beautiful something, I think. And it has a lot of amazing little streets. If I go down into these streets for a second, what is that place called? 𝗏𝙗𝙚, something or other. Go down into these little streets here. 𝙬𝙤𝙦𝗪, for example, and you are in a sort of labyrinth of little alleyways which go in between the main roads. And you've got some wonderful numbers, street numbers here, because people don't sort of consider themselves to be in normal countryside. You see that there, that little street going up there on the right? I don't know if I can just edge a tiny bit further down. There you see, look at that, look down there, you see? And it's this lovely little alleyway with these little houses that look like they should be in the English countryside somewhere, or a tiny little town in the English countryside. There's another one. And as you stroll up there, you'll see cats, you'll see people doing their gardens. It's really great. And you will see some lovely original street numbers, which don't look like Parisian street numbers, which are white on blue plaques normally. So 𝙬𝙤𝙦𝗪, it's off the beaten track. This is the sort of thing you wouldn't, there you go, another one, you see, isn't that cool? And there's a typical Paris street number, the white numbers on the blue plaque. It's lovely, it's Paris, but it's not very exciting, it's not remarkable. Go up these little places and you will see street numbers like this one. And I'm doing a collection. I was going to do 1 to 100, but because 9 is my theme, you see, 9 photographs, I'm actually doing 9 times 9. So my objective is to get 9 pages like this, 9 chapters of each with 9 numbers from the number 1 to number 81 in utterly unique numbers. So I can't wait. That's now in progress, you see. So I'm transferring these over. There's the 20, you see, really cool 20. It's so grungy. It's really great. So that's my 20. This is an 82. Okay, I said 1 to 81, but maybe I'll do 1 to 100 just to go up to 100 is quite symbolic. Now this one has got 2 82s, and this inspired a little verse. Shall I read you a little verse? I'll read you a little verse. Here it is. It's called Rat-a-tat-tat. 82 times 2 might not sound like, I've got to get the rhythm right. 82 times 2 might not sound like that. So 82 times 2 might not sound like that much to you, but on my drum of many numbers, it adds up to a tattoo. 82 times 2 might not sound like that much to you, but on my drum of many numbers, it adds up to a tattoo. Let's try again. Rat-a-tat-tat. 82 times 2 might not sound like that much to you, but on my drum of many numbers, it adds up to a tattoo. And a tattoo is like a rat-a-tat-tat on a drum, not necessarily a ink on your arm, in case you're interested. Now this, where is this? I'm so excited about getting lots of Paris quizzes going. Where is this? And what's strange about it? Well, it's good old Invalides. Beatrice knows this. It's Invalides, and these are the cannons. I should be able to tell you with authority exactly which cannons these are and which battles they took part in. I can't at the moment, but cannons, I think we're talking sort of 1870 at least, if not much further back. So we're talking 150 years ago at least. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Are these cannons from 150 years ago, 1870, the Prussian War? There was a story of cannons up on the heights of Montmartre, which is another butte, another hill, aimed towards the center of Paris. I'm not quite sure who they were planning on, whacking with cannonballs. with that sort of precision, we're not talking, precision satellite guided drones here. We're talking massive piece of metal slamming through the air, probably destroy a building, but maybe not that much more. And looking across to the Eiffel Tower, of course, with these big conical sort of hedge things, typical of the front lawn of Invalides. And well, this is a very strange photo because I got a stunning orangey yellow sun and an amazing blue moon. Isn't that fantastic? Can you believe it? Once in a blue moon, this photograph could be had, and there it is over those chimney pots. And that inspired something else. What did that inspire? That inspired this. And shall I read it? Okay, I'll read it. What shall I write about you this time, old girl? Are you tired of seeing the same old peacocks strutting their stuff up and down your sacred avenues? Peeved with pretentious pigeons and salty seagulls encroaching on your elevated airspace? Bored with witnessing the same lonesome blue moon rising forlornly over the chimney pots? What? Hold on just a baguette-bashing minute, bald eagle. A blue moon in Paris? Or maybe it's a stray cannonball from 1870 still floating around vainly trying to find a disorientated Prussian to splatter. Should I whisper that I'm thinking of writing a series of kids' books where the animals of your city, yes, even those pesky pooing pigeons, are the heroes? Would you scowl? Needless to say, there can only be one heroine. Guess who? I've got a series where I take pictures of the Eiffel Tower. I mean, it's not exactly a series, it's just I regularly take pictures of the Eiffel Tower. And my creative objective is to never make them the same. And this is my latest attempt. And getting a blue moon is pretty impressive, don't you think? So I've sort of developed this strange relationship with the Eiffel Tower. She looks over me, looks after me, gives me ideas. I consider her to be my muse. So occasionally I have a little conversation with her through my texts. What else can I show you? This one here is a book from one of those little book places they have. You know, in your town, do you have these? In Paris, there's quite a few of them, and in railway stations and in the suburbs. There are these boxes where people put their old books. So you can put your old books and you can pick up old books and take them away. So it's giving a second life to books, basically. And this is really something I recommend you do because it's really quite surprising what you find. I found the most deliciously battered book I've ever seen in one of these at a local train station. And I also discovered someone who was a member of the French Academy many years ago. And so a great writer, effectively. And it says in this battered old thing with the pages, literally, if I dropped the book, there would be paper scattered all over the place. Don't be fooled by the sellotape holding the cover together. None of the pages are attached. And it says it has 3 chefs-d'oeuvre in 1 volume. So I dip into it occasionally and read a few lines of a great author from the past that I'd never heard of and never would have if it hadn't been for me sticking my nose and my hand into one of these old book things. And I got a pretty cool photograph of it as well. This is great. By the way, say hello. Anyone else who's watching, say hello on the Paris show. This is going to run and run. One day, I just won't have time to answer your comments. So make the most of it while there's only 3 of us. This made me laugh because it's a back street of Paris in between the Boulevard Saint-Germain. Hello, Dorothy. Dorothy's watching. Hello, Dorothy. Welcome to some Paris blah blah from yours truly. This is a back street of Paris in between the Boulevard Saint-Germain and Invalides. Invalides, you know, it's the Hôtel National des Invalides, something like that, where Napoleon Napoleon Bonaparte is laid to rest. But I really recommend a few things. One is looking up a lot, and another is taking the back streets. And one of the things I love about Paris is the blue plaques, especially the ones that are a bit strange. And one of the most famous is the one you can see here. And it says gaz à tous les étages, which means gas on every floor. And this was from a time when they didn't have gas on every floor. So they were really proud of the fact that there was gas on every floor. There are some very rare ones, which I will show you, which say gaz et eau, or eau et gaz sur tous les étages. Water and gas on every floor. And there are even some other ones that are even rarer. But the funny thing about this, well, can you see why I think this is funny? This is the text that I wrote to go with it. And as you can see, I've made the plaque bigger. I'll read it. It says, wandering along a town's lesser trodden trottoir, which is pavement, is a wonderful eye-opener. A tiny detour between the Boulevard Saint-Germain and Hôtel des Invalides offered me 4 or 5 fine pictures for my Paris photo chronicles, and the odd smile too. This modest little hut proudly proclaims, just like its big 6 or 7-story brothers, that there is gas on every floor, including the only one it has, I suppose. Sounds cozy enough. The thing that made me smile is there's only one floor, and it's proudly proclaiming that there is gas on every floor. In an aside, which I haven't mentioned anywhere else, I suppose this might be the gatehouse for a much bigger building, but that doesn't change the fact that this makes me smile. This was just round the corner from this, and this is typically Parisian. In the past, Paris had a very bad reputation for pooey pavements, shitty sidewalks, crap under your feet. And there was many a time back in the past when I went sliding away down the boulevard on a piece of doggy poo. It's much better now, in part because of signs like this. So they're saying that you will pay quite a lot of money if you get caught. And also there's a sort of a rising in the level of consciousness that it's really, really nasty, crappy to let your dog poo on the street and leave it there. But apparently it's still a problem. So this is a sort of blatant sign on the pavement right there. It's not very picturesque, is it? A huge sign with a dog poo on it. But that's what they have, even in the classiest quarters. We're in the 7th here. We're not talking 18th, but 19th maybe. But there it is. This is the sort of thing you come across as you're wandering around the streets of Paris, either on the ground or on a poster. There's a kind of joke that, especially amongst the French, that Parisians are a little bit sort of maybe uncouth, you could say. And there was an advert for a newspaper back in the past when people actually bought newspapers, and it's called The Parisian. I'm not sure if it still exists. Le Parisien, The Parisian, which basically means the person who lives in Paris is a Parisian. And the advertising campaign was quite funny. There were various ones, but the one I remember was someone, a Parisian, had been walking in the street and had walked in dog poo. Surprise, surprise. They went up to their apartment. And the apartments have several doors next to each other. They went to their neighbor's apartment, brushed their feet on their neighbor's doormat, and then went back inside their own. And the catch line was something like, The Parisian, better to read it, better to see it in the newspaper than in real life, something like that, which is a French expression. Vaut mieux le voir en papier, I think it was, something like that. Le Parisien, vaut mieux le voir en papier, which is good, which was funny because it was a newspaper they were advertising. Check this out. Do you know what this is? Do you like it? Hello, I'm talking to you. Yeah, what do you think? This is a new tower, brand new. It's just been unveiled. And there's 2 towers here, actually. I should have made a made a quiz question on that. There are two towers you're looking at. One is the main one. Well, it's actually the smaller of the two that we can see here. The bigger of the two, which is quite a lot bigger, is behind it. It's this section here. Can you see? This is the bigger one. It's actually much bigger, much taller, but you can't see that from this angle. And for many, many months, I was wondering what on earth are they building here? Because the one behind it, the top few floors, can you see this joint here? This kind of hole. Well, the tower, it kind of goes up at an angle like this. Goes up at an angle like this. And then the top part of it, not the one we're looking at, the one behind it, the top part has this kind of disjointed block. So it's something like this. It goes up like this. And then there's a disjointed block sort of sitting on top like that. And it's pretty amazing. And at first I was thinking they must be about to lower the top bit onto the bottom bit in some sort of strange construction technique. And in fact, no, the top of the building is sort of floating above the bottom at a strange angle. And I really like it now. I think it's really cool. And in some of the Paris forums, some people say it's great, well done for trying something different. And you've got a bunch of people and they always say, oh, it's absolutely disgusting, ridiculous, awful, eyesore, blah, blah, blah. In exactly the same way, and probably the same people who said that covering up the Eiffel Tower, covering up the Arc de Triomphe in the Christo's wrapping was terrible, preposterous, blemishing our national symbol. But it's stupid, really, because Paris can only live unless it wants to become a dusty old museum. It has to innovate. It has to do new things. And I am so happy that I lived through the event of them covering the Arc de Triomphe in this really beautiful silvery fabric and leaving it like that for 3 weeks. Big deal, 3 weeks. It came, it went, and a hell of a lot of people enjoyed seeing it, took some amazing photographs. And what can I show you here? Oh my goodness. Would you believe it? This is part of the fabric that covered the Arc de Triomphe for 3 weeks. So there you go. I have got a piece of history here. And I always regretted that I wasn't here when they covered the Le Pont Nouveau in Le Pont Neuf in fabric as well. But I was here for the Arc de Triomphe, and I think the Arc de Triomphe was actually more spectacular. It was covered in this silver material with these lovely red cords wrapping it. Really great with this, because it's blue behind. Where it folded, you had a kind of blue shimmering through the silver. So that was great. I'm really excited, really happy about that. And Beatrice is saying, I like very much these towers. I'm getting to like them more and more, and I'm sure I'll take more photographs of them. The more I see them from more different angles, now that they're finished, they don't have the cranes and stuff. It's really great. They're really nice for a tower. They're really nice. They're not in the middle of Paris. And you can see on the left, a lot of these new buildings, which at first it's like, oh my God, what a mess. It's horrible. But now that they're finished, I'm starting to really appreciate them. In the distance, you can see two not so new towers. These are two chimneys, which they're another of my themes. They're another thing that I regularly take photographs of. And I love it when I can find something I've taken many photographs in the past in a completely different way. And this is a great example. Dorothy says, beautiful colors and a great catch. Yeah, thank you, Dorothy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about the photographs. I'll talk about the photography aspect in the photography show in the Creative Smartphone Photography Show. But I mean, I worked hard to get this photograph. Well, worked hard, relatively speaking. The sun is rising over the top of the tower. It's like it's coming out of the top of the tower. It's a massive beam. And the edges of the buildings and the edges of this, well, these edges here, being sort of captured somewhat by the light. Really nice backlighting, I think. And of course, I sabified the photograph as well. Good to have architecture of today. I think so. These people who are moaning about, horrible new buildings. Well, I'm sorry, they're going to build new buildings. It sounds like some of them would like to have something like the Montparnasse Tower. I mean, they don't know how lucky they are. We could have had some new Montparnasse towers. So if I look at Montparnasse Tower images, let's compare this. Is this really what they would prefer? This thing here, seriously, which completely destroys the almost every photograph that you take of the Eiffel Tower from Trocadero, for example. This thing, I don't think so. So there it is, and this is definitely, by the way, this is absolutely not the best angle to appreciate these two towers. There are other angles which are much, much better to appreciate these two towers. This is just where I happen to be, and I've got some of the other new buildings here. So thanks for commenting, ladies. Bear says, it's new marks on today as Eiffel Tower before. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they didn't like the Eiffel Tower when it was built. And can you imagine if someone suggested destroying it now because it's outlived its purpose? So these towers are probably not as emblematic as the Eiffel Tower, but still. You got a piece. Yeah, Dorothy, I got a piece. Got a piece of the fabric. And so did Bear, and so did Leo, I think. Towers of great architect Jean Nouvel. So Jean Nouvel is this, I called him a rebel somewhere. He's not exactly a rebel, but he's tried to bring a breath of fresh air to architecture. He's done a couple of really interesting things. He's done something amazing, which is really great, I think. And it's I wonder if I can find it. So let me come out from here. Thanks for your comments, by the way. It's great to have your comments. Oh, I have to show this. I love your pic too. Thank you. So yeah, this Jean Nouvel person, he was going to do something which would have been amazing. It was called the La Tour Sans Fin, which was going to be at La Défense, I think. And it was going to be a tower like this, a huge tower, like bigger than the Eiffel Tower. I think it was going to be the tallest tower in Europe. And it was going to start with, I think it was going to start at the bottom with concrete. And then it was going to have something like aluminium. And then steel or something. So, it doesn't, so concrete basically, or whatever, granite. So that would be solid. You wouldn't be able to see through granite. It would be dark probably. Then it was going to be something like aluminium. So maybe, sort of silvery, brushed, but not very reflective. Then it was going to be steel or something, which would probably reflect the buildings around it and so on. And then the top of it was going to be glass. So the idea was it got more and more transparent as it went up until it appeared to disappear into the clouds. This was going to be La Tour Sans Fin. In fact, it ended up being La Tour Sans Début because they didn't start it. Never mind. So I'm looking here at, this is going to be a challenge. I don't know if I can find it. I'm looking for something that Jean Nouvel did recently. And it's a really impressive building. If I click there, what happens? Nothing. I wonder if that might be inside it. Okay, that might be inside the building I'm trying to show you. I'm going to take my little man down here, if I can. Otherwise, I'll just find a photograph for you somewhere. So let's go down. I wonder if it's down Cité de la Musique. If I go down, what am I looking at here? I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here. Let's see where I end up. Is that it? Okay. I recognize this because this on the ground is the pattern that is echoed and continues up the really quite impressive building. So if you look at the ground, I'm not sure if we're going to see it. Let's see. We'll go around here. And there it is. So it looks like a complete and utter mess, doesn't it? It looks like something from a building site, left over from a building site. But in fact, I don't think I can get any closer. But in fact, it's really nice when you get up close to it. And of course, there are different sides to see it from. You can go up to the roof and have a look around. And it looks kind of strange here. But what it is it's a variation on the pattern you can see on the ground. So it's very unified. And there are parts where it's brighter, there are parts where it's darker, and I like it. You know, it's modern. Come on, let's live with the times. You know, that's the Philharmonie. So it's a new concert hall for Paris in the Parc de la Villette. Going back to my photographs, how are we doing for time? 36. I can still ramble for a while. Now this is from one of those hills I was telling you about, those secret hills. If I go back to Google Maps. Now, my objective is for you to really get to know Paris as you spend your Thursday evenings with me, or every other Thursday evening. All the secrets of Paris, the little things you don't know about. And this is one of those. So these are actually way up high, a great view over Paris with a little secret garden there. And it's very strange because this is high. Can you see my mouse? This is high and this is low and this is high. Okay, so the park is high. This goes down. So this was probably a quarry. This is where they were digging. And then up here, it's higher. They probably weren't digging. And there's a very strange phenomenon here because there's a building. There's a passage here, a passageway. These are steps. These are the steps. Can you see my mouse where it says Pass Com M19? Probably communal passage M19. This actually goes in between buildings, and it's staircase. It's a staircase that you're looking at in my photograph, and it goes up or down to this place. So there's a building here, and the strange thing is on the street level. The street is right at the bottom of the building. But on this street here, you're way up on some of the top floors of the building, looking at the other side, and there's a hole. There are holes here, and it's quite strange. So this passage here is this photograph. And I was delighted when I found that. Not many people know about that. And I don't have much more to say about that. I guess I could give you a little tour of this. Let's see if I can drop you down there. Yeah. All right, so that's what I was looking down, that hole there, you see. And in between, if I wander around this street, I'm going to go down here. In between these buildings here, it's quite spooky because there's a huge hole which goes down to ground level. So the buildings here, we're up about 8th floor or 6th floor here. You can't actually get into the buildings. You know, really weird, really weird. And I love weird. So I'll wander down here. Yeah, really strange sort of construction with these holes looking down, because even on this bit here, it's a hill. We're on a hill, a tiny little hill. So obviously there's a passage there. It goes down, down, down to the street level. And I'm just going to take you for a little walk down here. It doesn't look very exciting, does it? It's not the most picturesque place in the world, although on the right, you've got some things that are a little bit more picturesque. I mean, you can't have too much picturesque on the left because it's just holes. You'd fall down there. But on the right, you do have cute little gardens, very, very small gardens, sort of the space not really a garden. That's not really a garden, is it? Okay, let's carry on. This is quite picturesque, I suppose. Yeah, it's quite picturesque. More holes. My objective is to get to the end of this street sooner rather than later and show you the view. Here we go. There's even someone looking at the view. Let's put ourselves in their shoes if the Google Maps van doesn't run them over. You've got these kind of communal gardens here, totally unexpected, up on a hill, which no one knows about, or few people. And look at this view, looking out across towards what? What are we going to see? Can you see that? Can you see that thing there? What's that? That, my friends, is Sacré-Cœur, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, if you really tried hard, yeah, there's Sacré-Cœur. If you really tried hard, you might be able to see the Eiffel Tower or something like that. And there it is. And then you go down this little street here, and you go down the hill. So that is a really cute part of Paris that you can investigate on maybe your 4th or 5th trip here, because it's not top of the list, and yet it's really good. And I'm getting to the end of this chapter. Honestly, 82 is 82. I'm not going to go into too much more detail on that. Let me give you a quiz, Paris quiz. Who wants a quiz? Here we go. So I'll go to my Paris Set Me Free site page. Here's a new quiz. You might have seen this before. I'm not sure. I'm just catching up with old quizzes. So this is something I do regularly. And here is the quiz. So one quiz would be, where are we? That's definitely a quiz. And I have another series of quizzes, and it's for people learning English. And I said something like, is this, what was it? It was something like, is this a bear in front of, no, is this a bear? No, it was something like, is this a fox behind the station? Is this a rabbit next to the station? Or is this a bear in front of the station? So it was an English test. And I decided to do another series of quizzes for Paris people. It's not about learning English. It's about Paris passionatos. And the question is, when was today's Gare du Nord? This is Gare du Nord, the Paris North Station. When was it inaugurated? I could have had another question about the sculpture. I might one day. And to find out the answer, do you know the answer? What are you going to guess? Anyone going to guess? I should do more of these, then I get more interaction. So, is it 1846? Is it 1864? Or is it 1870? When was Gare du Nord inaugurated? Answers on a postcard. And if you want to know the answer, you click on this. And you go to this. Yeah, I think I'll have lots more questions. I think I'll 5, 6 questions every Thursday from now on. So this is the page where you can find out the answer. And so, for example, here, I'll just give you a couple of examples. These famous drinking fountains were a gift from whom? From whom? To the people of Paris. Scotsman Sir William Wallace. Inventors Wallace MBE and Gromit DBE, or Englishman Sir Richard Wallace. And the answer is, you click here to have the answer. Englishman Sir Richard Wallace. And here's another example. Paris's big wheel is usually to be found on the edge of which famous Paris garden? Le Jardin de Luxembourg, les Tuileries, or Le Jardin d'Acclimatation. Okay, this is a famous big wheel that is always, it's almost permanent now in Paris, and it's always in the same garden. And the answer is Les Tuileries. Yes, well done if you got that. And here's another one. This is one that we've been looking at. Okay, so when was Gare du Nord station inaugurated? And it was, in fact, 1864. During the reign of Napoleon III. I don't know if emperors have reigns or not, but I think it was Napoleon III who was around at that time. So that is one of the quiz questions. I have another type of quiz question, which I can show you. I don't have a new one to show you, but I'll show you what it looks like. And it looks like this. So there's a lot more of these coming. I just haven't done them yet. And it's called Where's Sab? I'm not going to be in every picture, but it's taken somewhere in Paris. It just says Where's Sab? You just have to guess where it is. And that will really be for Paris aficionados, because there's a lot of places in Paris with a lot of landmarks, a lot of unique buildings and statues, and there's very little chance anyone knows them all. So this is going to be cool. This is a second series of Paris quiz questions. I'll quickly go back to my photographs to finish off the show. So we've seen Paris Photo Chronicles, Volume 3, Book 2, Chapter 2. Let's go to Volume 3, Book 2, Chapter 1. And this is what they look like. I don't think you've seen these. Normally, it's every 14 days. So I should be able to show you about 4 or 5 of these, and you haven't seen them before. So this this is just a picture of a heart on a tree, which is nice. This one with the sun was on the way into Paris, and this was a grab shot. I recommend you have your camera ready, or you're looking out the window quite often. You might think there's no way you're going to get a nice shot out of the window, or why bother, or you're lost in your thoughts, which is fine. But if you're into photography, grab a few shots. Look, I think this is worth publishing. I enjoyed publishing this and playing with it. And also, I've got a friend called Thomas who has a Facebook group for silhouettes and shadows. We have a silhouette of a tree here, so I got something to contribute to his group. Other similar shots I've had like this. There's one in this series with a moth, a lovely sort of moth on this silver aluminium thing here. So a bit of life in the cold sort of Parisian transport system, which was nice. I was on a bus going to Vincennes, and I got a picture of a ladybird that was a bit lost on the Paris bus. So you never know when you're going to see something interesting. And also there's something about seeing nature in an urban setting which is nice. This one is, in a way, it's a study in loneliness, you might say. And for all I know, she's not in the slightest bit lonely. But we can imagine what we like when we take photographs. And here she is, this lady. There's 5 seats, but only one of them is occupied, or rather, one is occupied by her, the other by her bag. There are 3 empty ones. The back of the seat, they're called bucket seats, or you can call them bucket seats. They're these strange sort of shape. You have to fit I don't know anyone who's got a backside quite that shape, but anyway. And there's this kind of sort of crescent-shaped hole. I really can't work out why. What purpose is that supposed to serve? Is it like if you fart, it lets your farts out? Or yeah, sorry, probably shouldn't even go there. But anyway, it has that. I mean, if they wanted to make it a smile, they should have put a couple of dots on the back of the seat. Then it would look like they're smiling. But maybe that's too Disney for them. And I often take photographs of people in the train system, and it's so massive. The ceilings are so high, so monumental in some cases, like Bibliothèque François Mitterrand, this one, a monumental station, huge volumes. People look tiny, and we look like tiny little cogs in the machine, and it can be quite impressive. So this was taken from a train through the window. And it's not quite as simple a shot as it might seem. Well, maybe you don't think it's simple, but I don't know if you can see what's interesting about it. But apart from, well, anyway, it's these white circles up in the top are not above the lady. They are actually behind me on the train. They're being reflected in the window. So I'm taking this lady with the seats and the station and the name and everything, and these are reflected in the window. And funnily enough, they're the same sort of white circles as the seats, which is a nice thing. And then these sort of spots here, these orangey spots, are dirt on the window, which through the processing, the sabification afterwards. And Beatrice, if you play with your photographs, feel free to call it beatification, which has another meaning as well. But I think beatification or beatification is pretty cool. Beatrice, beatification. It actually means it's one of the steps on the way to turning someone into a saint, I think. So that's pretty cool. I think if you beatify your photographs, that's a pretty good way to go. Dorothy would Dorify. That could be nice. Dorify, because d'or is like d'or, it's like gold. You goldify your photographs, maybe, Dorothy. And I know you like painting with gold, so Dorify is actually a pretty cool name for your process. Mine is sabification, or maybe sabotage. I thought was a good one as well. You never know, and so many of my photographs are on the train. Maybe it's because I'm bored. I don't have anything else to do. But and here's one with number 8, and next to it was a number 9. And this was in one of those little alleyways I showed you as well. And it's definitely going to be part of my series. So I was thinking about this later. You know, it seems quite simple, but, you know, there's a good, get up close with details, for goodness sake, unless you've got some reason for putting them in their environments. You know, you can make a tiny detail can be the entire photograph. You don't know how big this is. It could be this big, but you don't know. And I realized afterwards, or maybe I did it subconsciously, it's got this nice sort of purple bit attaching it to the bottom of the frame at an angle, the left of the frame, the top of the frame, and the right of the frame. I really like that characteristic. Funnily enough, playing around with the colors afterwards turned it purple. It's not purple at all. It was black. It's a black railing. So you never know what's going to happen when you start playing around. And I also love the dash of pink, sort of dusty pink, I would say, which coincidentally matches the sort of dusty purple which has come out in the processing as well. So that's quite a good reason for keeping this thing almost purely black and white, because you've got the color surrounding it. And then finally, I think I talked about this one, but I'm not sure if I have. Yeah, I always call Paris the city of light and darkness, or the city of light and shadow. And I take what Paris offers me. And one day it offered me a pig in agony from being castrated through the metro door. This was some sort of advertisement to raise awareness of the fact that the pigs we eat, the male pigs we eat, are often castrated, because if you don't, apparently the meat smells nasty when you're cooking it. So pigs get their balls chopped off so as not to disturb our smell nodules. And that's, so this is it. This is Paris for me. This is as much Paris as a beautiful view across the city to the Sacré-Cœur. Just as much part of it. I think we've seen these ones before, and I will finish with this one, which is the number 9. And there's a famous song by the Beatles. Well, all the Beatles songs are famous, but there's one, it's called Revolution 9. And I wrote something about the number 9, I think. And let's see if I can see what I wrote. With my creativity breakthrough coach hat on, I recommend you create something every day. You don't have to. If you're just here for Paris, that's fine. But I spend half my life creating stuff and the other half encouraging people, you, to be as creative as you would love to be, because it's great to create, because then you can be pleased with it, you can share it, other people can enjoy it, and they will be inspired to create as well. So I don't really, put too much of a line between any of my activities. So I say to you, if you like the idea of creating, create wherever you are, take a photograph, play around with it, share it, and enjoy the fact that something now exists which didn't exist a little while ago. So anyway, this is one of the things I create. And when you create something and you leave it for a while and then you come back, it's quite strange because sometimes it's like you don't remember writing it or you don't remember taking the photograph. That's one of the things with Facebook. If you get reminders from Facebook of, 2 years ago, you published this, or 1 year ago, or 4 years ago, sometimes it's really quite surprising. And it's a bit of a shock sometimes, but it's also great. But you wouldn't get that if you're not creating, unless you're just posting pictures of cats or something, which is fine. But if you've created something, and then 2 years later, Facebook says, by the way, 2 years ago, you posted this creation, you can think, wow, where am I now? I've moved on since then. Or that's what I was thinking. Or I still think the same thing. Or I don't think the same thing at all. And that's valuable. That's pretty cool. So what did I write? This is a few days ago. I can't remember what I wrote. But bear in mind that the Beatles wrote a famous song called Revolution 9, and they kept saying number 9, number 9. And there were strange snippets of talk from radio shows and things in the song. So this may mean nothing to some people, and other people, they'll say, aha. Every one of them knew that as time went by, they'd get a little bit older and a little bit slower, said some Beatles song somewhere. 3 used to be my lucky number, I fancied. But I always liked the idea of squares too. And 3 times 3 equals 9, of course. Although 3 cubed, or 3 times 3, would fit the theme even better. Maybe 27 should be given more prominence. Anyway, my photo chapter grids comprise 9 Paris chronicles. My poems are presented the same way, as are my apparently memes, my Paris quizzes, and so on. And my art. Back to where it all started. My infinity squared puzzle paintings, endlessly rearrangeable, limitlessly personalizable, ultimately undefinable. And that's fine by me. If you want a revolution, I do my best to change the world square by 9 tiny little squares at a time. So that was what came from this number 9. What do you write about a number? Well, for some reason, I always find something to write. And we're pretty much at the end of the show. So thanks, guys. By the way, if you want to just leave a final comment, what's your favorite place in Paris? Do you have a favorite place for taking photographs, or a favorite curiosity of Paris that you'd like to share? That would be interesting. Mate, you never know. I might go there and take photographs of it. By the way, coming attractions, apart from this show, in 2 weeks' time, there'll be a new show. I want to tell you where I went this weekend. I went to a part of Paris I have been wanting to go to for ages. I mean, I've been there before, but not recently, and I wanted to take some photographs. And it's here. It's in the the northwest. Never eat shredded wheat. It's in the northwest. And we went to 2 places. We went to this little garden here, which was actually rather unknown to me. It's not a huge garden, but it's really sweet. They've even incorporated some elements that they have in Parc des Buttes-Chaumont and even Parc Montsouris, such as a little waterfall or a little cascade type thing, or a little stream, which is nice. And in fact, when they do that, it's normally because there used to be quarries there. And this says here, the Square des Batignolles, City Park on former disused freight yard. No, it wasn't a quarry, but it was an old freight yard. And you can see it's right next to the trains. And then we went to this, which is a relatively new park. It's called, it's not a very nice name. It's a Parc Clichy-Batignolles Martin Luther King. I'm not saying that the names aren't nice, but it's clumsy. It's very long. And it's kind of modern, so it's kind of a bit of a mishmash. But, it's green. It's a place you can walk without cars, surrounded by loads of modern buildings. And that was interesting too. And we actually saw a heron. and I will show you that picture in the very near future, probably in 2 weeks' time. So that's it, folks, for today. Thank you for watching. Watch out for more Paris quizzes, more Paris photographs. Encourage people to join the group which is this. It's facebook.com/groups Paris Set Me Free. Go there and check out the stuff. If you're a Paris fan, get other people to join, and let's get lots of interesting stuff about Paris going, especially curiosities and things, not just the usual boring stuff that everyone knows. Let's be a bit different. Okay, folks, thanks for watching, and I will see you again. Oh, by the way, I still haven't put these up in the streets of Paris yet, but one day soon I will. These are my kind of Ukrainian colored statements that I wanted to get out of myself and onto the streets of Paris. So I will stick them on the walls of Paris, and Paris will be covered in dozens of tiny little squares on a theme that we know all too well at the moment. So a bit of Paris art coming your way from yours truly as well. Bye for now. Have nice evenings or days or afternoons or nights, and talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.